Self-Love is the New Sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts. Hello, welcome, and thank you to everyone for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And today's episode is about, or is entitled, Discipline Alleviates Doubt. Discipline alleviates doubt. Now I'm going to share a brief story of something that actually happened to me today and has happened to me in several weeks prior to today, but today it was top of mind, and I thought it'd be a good time to kind of drill down into this principle a little bit with you guys. So if you've listened to some of the other episodes, you probably heard me say that one of my passions right now is day trading the stock market. Now, that is no small task, right? I have no experience in the financial markets, so I'm coming to this through a class that I'm taking, and then a group that I study with, and then trade with whenever I have the time to, Monday through Friday. So in a couple hours or so a day, I'm actually live in the market trading stocks. And so there's a whole lot that goes into that, and there's all kinds of different ways that you can trade in the stock market. Now, the one particular way that I'm focused on right now is smaller valued stocks that are very volatile. And so I try and catch the trades. I try and catch it when it's increasing in price, try to catch it when it's decreasing in price. And that's how I make my money. So fast forward today, and here's why discipline is so big. In anything that we do, discipline is huge. Once you learn, as you learn the rules of the game and you create a game plan for yourself, and I'm going to tie this into self-love here in a minute, so bear with me for just another second or two. When you get into the game, there's rules. You have to learn those rules, figure out what works for you, and then have the discipline to implement and follow those rules and those plans to a T, or you're very likely to have more problems than you normally would. So today, there's a trade, there's a stock that's going crazy wild, just going up, up, and up, and up. I didn't feel comfortable trading the stock because I couldn't read it. I was having trouble reading it and thought I should just stay away. Well, as it continued to go up, which means there's a lot of opportunity to make money, I started focusing on that stock, started trying to figure out when to get in and when to get out. So ultimately, I decided to get in as it was going up because I wanted to ride the momentum as it continued to go up so I could make some money on that stock. Well, lo and behold, a few seconds after I got into the stock, guess what happened? The price dropped. And so then I had to get out of it, which means I lost money. Now, the moral to that story is, number one, I didn't listen to my inner voice who was saying that's a tough stock to trade, don't trade it. But number two is I didn't stick to my discipline of that particular stock, and what was going on in that moment didn't fit my plan. And I didn't have the discipline to stick to my plan and not trade that stock. As a result, I lost money. And so that's what happens when you don't have the discipline to stick to your solid plan. So I have a very solid plan in place. When I stick to it, I do okay. When I don't stick to it, I don't do very well. So now how does that apply into your life and your self-love journey? Just as you do in the financial markets, when you're on this self-love journey, which we all are, whether we label it that or not, we have to come up with a plan that works for us. One of my key components, one of the key pillars to my plan is if there's negativity or confusion or just exaggerated excitement, there's too much activity going on, that's not really where I choose to be. That's not what feels really good to me. That's not consistent with who I am. Now, can I dabble in moments, short periods of that? Yes, I can, whenever I feel like doing it. But by and large, that's not my place. And so part of my plan for my self-love, I guess plan, if you will, is that I minimize the amount of interaction I have in those type of environments with those types of people, and for the amount of time that I do immerse myself in that type of environment. So I have developed over time, and I didn't realize it until I really started analyzing my life, that I've done that. I decided to do that early on, probably in my teenage years, when I saw some of my counterparts who were doing things that, again, weren't consistent with what I wanted to do, with the direction that I was heading. Anything that I thought would hinder me from getting my grades, playing ball, and going to school, going to college, I was not going to be around it. And so in my adult life, those types of environments that aren't consistent with me, I said, hey, I'm not going to be around those environments. Now, over time, you can start to feel like, because people, the flip side of that is people can say you're distant, you don't like them, you're antisocial, you're this, you're that, you think you're too good for whatever. And so those things are going to happen. And you know what? I became okay with that because I felt like my peace of mind and the things that I wanted to do were just more important than that. So I developed that discipline that I don't care what anybody else says about what I do. And I don't care about missing out on events, parties, and the likes, because what you realize is that those events and those things and those people that are saying those things or that behave in a certain way, not saying that anything is wrong with people can do whatever they want to do, but I get to choose what I want to do and what I want to be around, right? Just as you do. And we have to protect that space. So it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, what you'll realize is when you come home from that event, nothing important happened anyway. Nothing very much fun happened anyway. And it's totally okay for you not to be there or be around these people, because you aren't missing out on anything at all. But what you will find is that as you maintain your discipline and your self-love practice, that you will feel much better consistently, which is what we're after and what you're after. So again, creating that plan for yourself. And again, you don't have to copy or mimic what I do, but we're individuals. We all have different likes and needs and desires and wants and, what things that excite us. So come up with those things that really help you consistently feel good, because this is your life. This is your self-love journey. Self-love is number one. We get to choose what we do, who we're around, how we feel. We have to take control of that. And it starts with creating those pillars, creating that plan. And then the other piece is, once we create that plan, we've got to have the discipline to stick with it. So don't be like me. Don't get in the market and disregard your plan and lose money, because that's not what we're after. Don't live your life doing things that don't make you feel good, don't add value, because that's a waste of your time. That's a waste of your good time. And you're giving away, you're mingling with energy. So you're weakening yourself, and you're doing it on purpose. So be more purposeful with the good, with maintaining that high vibrational energy, creating that self-love space for yourself at all times. And when you encounter a situation, because sometimes, you won't necessarily know what's going on. For example, if you're at work, or if you're at a party, or if you're at an event, and you realize that people are gossiping or saying negative things or using a particular language or what have you, then in that moment, you have to choose. Do I want to be a part of this? Do I want to join in on that? Do I want to keep myself in proximity of this? Or do I want to separate myself? Or do I want to say something that may shed better light on the whole situation for the people who are involved? But that's when you have to make those self-love decisions. And it'll come to you exactly what you should do in the moment. And then you have to have the discipline to do that and do it over and over and over again. Because again, it's about maintaining your high vibrational energy, period. Now, everything outside of that will adapt. They'll be fine. Most people could care less. And if they do, then that's their issue, but it's not our issue. You know, other people's opinions we can't allow that to affect us because that's not our business. How other people feel about me is not my business, but how I feel about myself and how I treat myself and the things that I do on a daily basis is 100% my business. And that's what I have to focus on. So I'm going to end now. Just remember, discipline, no matter what you're in, especially along this self-love journey, is going to require discipline. You have to come up with that plan and stick to the plan, regardless of how good things look, how attractive they are. And so what? Just like today, when I made that bad trade and I lost money, we all are human, right? We can't do this 100%. So when you do make the mistake or whatever it is, or you encounter that learning experience, just be okay with it and then go right back to your discipline. Go right back to your plan. Because guess what? Tomorrow, that's exactly what I'm doing. Tonight, I'm going to study up and going to work harder and get more familiar with more charts and more stocks so that tomorrow I can do a better job. I learned today. I've got to break that habit. I've got to become really solid in my discipline. And you've got to become really solid. I've got to become more solid. We all have to become really more solid in this disciplining of ourselves along our self-love journey. All right, folks, thanks for hanging out with me as always. It's such a pleasure. Look forward to speaking with you all again very soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.